Well, my buddy, this Pastor G coming to you. I'm just my office and just want to come to you briefly today and see if I can share my concerns with what I got going on and what I feel. I'm trying to set this camera right. And what I feel is very important to me. It might not be important to you, but it's important to me. And hopefully that I can share my concerns on why I'm doing and what I'm going to say on today. And truly, it's something that needs to be said. We are in some times now, and please forgive me uh, for messing with that camera on today prior to talking to you. And I guess I'll turn my chat on in case somebody want to join in with me today on the chat line. To let me see your comments. Listen, I don't know how anyone else feel about it, but I am totally disturbed, troubled, perplexed with what's happening in our community with our young African young men who are getting slaughtered. The last two young men that got killed, and there are others. And God been really pushing me. I have dealt in this capacity a long time. I know some might say, well, why are you just coming out and talking now? I'm just not just coming out talking. I have tried before implementing programs and requiring, asking many clergies to come. There was a few that did show up, and we had a great discussion. And it was more than a discussion. It was things that we could implement and go back out into the community and make a difference. Um, the problem that I foresee is that we have so many organizations that are claiming to have the answer, but there are, to me, opportunities. They only show up after the fact when something have occurred. Isn't it strange that something ought to dawn on you before I make you too angry with my last statement I'm going to make? It should dawn on you that of all these programs that we have, none of them seem to be working. Show me one community where it has impacted that particular community to make it a model example that can be used across the city. My program, Youth for Youth, when I was really active before I went into the school district and did what I did for those 18 years with the school district, impact young people's lives from the foster care to become nurses and practitioners and entrepreneurs. It changed their lives. And I have evidence to prove that. You know, um, I was at going into an AutoZone store, and a Hispanic brother stopped me and said, "You don't remember me?" And I said, "No," because he was grown. He said, "You changed my life at Brownville Road when I was in elementary school. The things that you said, the things that you um, showed and implemented and exemplified, it caused me to reevaluate my life as a young elementary student to want to be better than what I was trying to do." My brothers and sisters, what you see happening today is not of the norm, but we have gotten accustomed to the violence that is taking the lives of our children, and we are now making it the norm, acceptable that should be unacceptable in our community. Yes, I'm angry. I'm not mad because the animals get mad. I'm angry. And the Bible says you can get angry, but don't get angry without a cause. There's a cause. You know, when Dr. King saw uh, the injustice that was happening to the race of not only black people, but even low-income people that was not characterized as being acceptable, regardless of their color. But yet some of them were still being treated better than those of us. He took the initiative to step out and do something about it. And what happened was racism and prejudice and hanging, segregation was everywhere. But King knew that he couldn't change the whole world. So what he did was he focused in on one city. They called it Birmingham because they had a known reputation of bombing in different places. King went there. He changed Birmingham. And by implementing the civil rights movement to Montgomery and those other places, it caused an impact to change this country. We have to go and look at and implement, not all over the city of Memphis, because it's not happening. You know the reason why it's not happening? Because there's not one person saying the same thing. They say they're doing the same thing, but are they? What's happening? What you see? There was a time, now I'm getting ready to upset you, but I can do this because I'm not involved in the circle. I'm a self-made king. I'm self-crowned. And I can do that because of the grind that I have implemented in my life. Nobody gave me a dime other than God. So I can stand and say what I have to say. You know, there was a time that when people had childcare, I used to always say it was a daycare with a church, because the church had quit relying on God to be the main support of the church and started using the children at the expense to offset the church expense. And instead of the church helping the child care was actually helping the church. Thank God for the ministry that I have at Pearly Gate, that we're not depending upon the school that we have involved now. When others said that it would never be done, it could never happen. And now people ride by and see the impossibility became the possible because of the God that I serve. You know, my brothers and sisters, the church have lost its main focus. And the focus of the church is to save the lost. The main focus of the church is to reach sinners. The main focus of the church is to revive those things which was considered dead and bring them back to life. Why are you saying what you're saying, Pastor G? I had a mortician once to call me, and he said to me, we'll give you $500 if you can allow us to just use your church for every time for their funerals. And I said, sir, we don't need your $500 because the church is not in that type of a business to just open our doors just for the dead. Jesus even said, let the dead bury their dead. Our doors are open for those who are coming in that we can resuscitate and send them back alive. Jesus stopped funerals. Jesus raised up the dead. Jesus went upstairs and brought down a dead girl that was dead. Jesus did that. But now the church have gotten so caught up in what you want to say, revenues, tangible, monetary values, until now there are some preachers that feel that they open their doors just to get $500, just to bury the dead. And that's not evangelizing and not reaching what God wants us to do. My brothers and sisters, we are in a sick situation right now. And what bothers me, when did we as ministers become politicians? God had not called us to be politicians. Jesus could have changed everything that Herod was doing. He told Pilate, man, you don't take my life. I could have called 12 legions of angels. That's 72 angels to come 72,000, I could say, angels to come down to help me. But he didn't. God could have automatically wiped Herod out. Caiaphas them and all those fellas. He could have, but he didn't. Our calling is not to be about politicians. We got people like you now marching and voicing their opinion for these politicians that you're going to only see them now because they want your vote. Yes, you have a right to vote. I voted, but my life is not just centered on doing that. And when you see people pushing, so it's something involved. There's something in the deal for them. It's something. And nobody is saying anything about that young boy that was pumping gas, that went to school for 12 years to celebrate. And now he's able to go to the prom. All of us, I went to it. That was something that we all look forward in doing, is going to the prom, dressing up and taking your girl with you to dance. And yet his parents took pictures of him leaving home to never see him come back home the same way. And divorces are silent. Where are these activists, these people that what got me is that I saw more preachers. Paul speaks about it and talks about these false apostles and things of that nature. Not saying all of them that carry the name apostles are false. Not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But I saw more people crying over Belton forces, stature, Forest, stature that night in the rain, mucus running out their noses, crying over a man that we never saw. And I wasn't in slavery, don't know nothing about servitude. I heard about it, servitude time, but I had a good life. And the park where he was buried, most blacks that I know didn't go to that park anyway. And yet they cried over them moving a statue out of a park that the person had been dead for up amount of years, cried over it, if though we have accomplished something. And yet people still killing during that incident. And yet, my brothers and sisters, see, people use that for a political move, because there were some people got elected in office because of that one little incident that the people thought they did that, so now they can represent us. My brothers and sisters, when did we become so caught up in politics till we missing what it is that God have called us to do? When did it happen? When did God tell us to change what he have called us to do? My brothers and sisters, it's a dark day in this country. It's a dark day. I see everything else doing what God have assigned it to do. But yet those of us who God have called us to be the mouthpiece for him have changed. Now, what is it in for you if who you say gonna get elected? Well, what you gonna gain from it? What are you going to gain from it? Are they going to help us? There are some people now saying they got the answer to the problem, and yet they were sitting in seats for all these years. Why they didn't voice their opinion then? So you got to wait till you get in a particular seat to say now you can solve the problem? Huh, for real? But yet you sat there all these years. I even saw once, I won't call his name, at the spot, try to speak to him. He was kind of nonchalant. It wasn't no big deal. But yet, when they run for office, they want to send you mail. I get so many mail in my mailbox from these people. But yet, when you see them out, they couldn't speak when they was in those particular seats. People of color, we better wake up. And ministers that God have called us to this gospel, we are fishers of men. Jesus spent 2 extra years behind his 3 years of ministry. You know, for those of us know that 3 years of teaching the disciples to be disciples. And then teaching them what it is to become a disciple. And the discipleship that he wanted them to be was changing from fishing for fish in the water to fish for human and the humankind, and bring them from what they was into to a new realm of living. That's what he called us to do. And yet we're missing it. It's a sad day. I'm hurting. I'm upset because we have gotten so comfortable with accepting, opening our church on Saturdays to see these young people come in. And some of them we've never seen, never met, don't know the fact, but yet they give you $500 and you flock to open the doors, you know. But what about reaching them before they come in dead? People, it can be done. Believe me. Together we can move mountains, but separate we can't. If I could call General Custer back, he would tell you he might would have won that battle. But when the Indians just knew one thing, if we can separate Custer from his soldiers, we can take him out. And when they caused that separation, he found himself in a terrible situation and he lost his life. And that's what's happening to us. We too separated. You know, we're not together. Everybody want to be the leader. I went to a meeting and I'm gone now. And I left there so heavy laden. It's supposed to have been about talking and discussing what we can do. And then we put an action plan together that we can make a difference and try to change what's happening among our young generation. Man, I saw people sitting up there trying to give the definition of a Greek word to impress people that you've been to school or whatever. You know, we didn't come to get a lesson in Greek. You know, we all know about Plato, Socrates, Cuts, and the other fellows, Aristotle. We know about that. We didn't come for that. And I just sat there, and some fella met me, he been knowing me. I didn't know him, but he knew. He had been incarcerated, but he was out, but he knew of me. He's a pastor. Well, you said something, but God said, no, it ain't your time. See, you can never question silence, but that don't mean that silence is a form of cowardice. You got to know when to speak. My time will come. I left there empty. I saw the game. These are people who want to be validated by certain people so they can continually do and get what they're getting. And our young people are constantly being killed. They're not dying. They're being killed. Jesus said, the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. I come that they might have life and have it more abundantly. My brothers and sisters, people of color, preachers of the gospel, what we going to do? You still going to collect your $500 and open your doors? Are you? That's what the church have grown to now? That's a scenario of the church now? Is it? But I thought it was built on a different foundation. Well, that's all I got for you today. Oh, I know it's going to upset you, but I really don't care. I really don't. It's good if I upset you. Maybe you might come to reality that we got to come together, sit at the table, come, let us reason together and go out and implement a plan and see, can we make a difference and stop this violence that's happening in our society and taking the lives of our young people. Can I say this in closing? If what we see keep happening, sooner or later, those of you that live to get my age, you won't have nobody to preach to because they'll be all gone. What we going to do about it? There's nothing that we see. As Jesus said, we can speak to this mountain and this mountain shall move. We have the power if we know how to use your power. We got to come together. One flake of snowflakes don't do no harm, but let it come together. close down cities and airplanes and train stations. When it comes together, we too separate. And then those of us that don't agree with somebody else's way of thinking and philosophy, well, some people don't even have a philosophy. They just have their opinion. Then they get angry. They get upset. I was saying, hey, Nancy, love you. I had to come on. When I was in the seminary, Memphis Theological Seminary, getting ready to graduate, there was a preacher that got upset with me. They used to call me the biblical preacher because I would say, well, Bible said, and my professors would ignore me because they didn't want to answer my question or come to me because I said, well, it was in the Bible. They weren't going in the Bible. They had their own way of thinking, you know, lean not into their own understanding, but they had their own understanding. But I always say, it's in the Bible. They didn't want that. And this particular young man got angry. He wanted to fight me. I wasn't afraid of it. And another thing, he wasn't going to whoop me either. But I look at him today, and I say, it's the same brother that stand before the camera sometimes that got upset because he didn't want to accept the truth that was being presented. Listen, could it possibly be that what we see happening today and all the violence and hatred that we see, could it be a reflection of the church? Because Jesus said that ye are the light of the world. And if we the light of the world, then what we see the young people doing is what they're doing coming from the light that they see, which is us. Jesus said if we learn to love each other, people will know that we are his disciples because of the love that we have one for another. I'm just asking questions. It's a sad day. It is a sad day. People of color, ministers of the gospel. Come on, y'all. I never met the young man, didn't know his family, but I could feel, I'm in empathy with the family. I could feel the pain of that mother and father. Because I know the love I have for my grandchildren, my grandson. I raised him. I know the love. That's a hurting situation, y'all. But we can make a difference. I would love to challenge any minister that want to meet with me and let us all come together. Not just black preachers. I'm talking about white preachers as well. Let us come. Let's set up a meeting day and let us put a plan together. I don't want to meet, eat, and greet, and then we go back out and do. I don't want to do that. I'm talking about putting a plan together, an action plan. And let's make a difference in this world. Hey, this is Pastor G from Memphis, Tennessee. Nance, I got to go. I love you. And I'm looking forward to seeing each member that did receive a letter. See you Saturday at 10 o'clock. Be on time. Come share. Come listen to what I have to offer to you. I got to go. Love you now. See you. Bye.